Hello, my most amazing artists. Today I'm going to show you a quick tour of each studio in our art room and how we use the studios and how we clean them up when we are finished. So first of all, our drawing studio. The drawing studio is probably our easiest cleanup of all of the studios. Every material is labeled with which supply it is, and the shelves should be labeled with the same supplies. So we just match the supply to its shelf so we know where each of these items go. When we are working with items from the drawing studio, you can take an entire container to your table, unless it's something like the rulers where they're all the same, so you only need one. Also in the drawing studio, we have the how to draw pages. And this also, you would only take one. You wouldn't take the whole folder to your table. When we look through things like this, you need to be sure that if, as you're looking through it, that you leave it the way you found it. So we see that all the papers are neatly stacked inside the folder. They're not folded in half. They're not hanging out. So we always want to leave it just as neat as we found it. Then right next to the drawing studio is the paper cart. And our paper cart has different kinds of paper. Up on top in this box we have our drawing paper. And you can see the drawing paper says limit 2, and that is for our standard 9 by 12 size drawing paper, not the really large sheets. So the drawing paper says limit 2. That means you can only use up to 2 pieces in one art class. And we only take one at a time. So you don't go ahead and start with your 2 sheets, because some days you won't need to. Some days you may just want one. Also on top of the paper cart are our artist statements. We have the red folder that has the half sheet statements like this one. And then in the green folder underneath, we have the full sheet artist statements. So those are both there. Sometimes there's extra papers up here that you can feel free to use one of those. It also counts the same as our drawing paper. You may use 1 or 2 in each art day. Now down here inside the cabinet, we have 9 by 12 painting paper on the top shelf, and you can see the large sign here with the big arrow that says painting paper. When you are painting, make sure that you are using painting paper and not drawing paper. When we try to paint on drawing paper, it gets floppy and just falls apart and doesn't go on the drying rack very well. I need you to also notice that on the painting paper, you may only use 1 new painting paper each art day. So if you start a painting and you don't like it, or maybe you get finished with it, instead of coming back and getting a new paper, you need to either continue with the one you have, even if you didn't like it. You can use it to practice mixing colors. You can see what you can turn that oops into, or put it on the drying rack and pull something out from your portfolio that you've worked on another day and work on that. We also have larger paper in the paper cabinet. So down on the bottom we have the larger drawing paper, and over on the right side we have the larger painting paper. You have to ask Mrs. Joplin for big paper. You may not help yourself to the big paper. And on days when you use the big paper, that is the only paper that you may use that day. When we clean up, all of our supplies should be put back just like they look right now in the drawing studio. When you get paper, if more than one sheet comes out and you accidentally drop some, please carefully pick it up and replace it where it belongs. So our paper cart should always look this nice and neat.